Hi everyone, welcome back to my YouTube channel Sunday Spoon. My name is Samira and today we are making Lezgin khinkal with beef. This is a traditional dish from Dagestan and from my culture, specifically from Lezgin people, originated from Caucasus region. And it's not just a recipe for one meal, it's a full table. Thin handmade dough, slow cooked beef, rich broth, and sauces that you combine yourself with every bite. The ingredients are simple, but the technique and timing are what make it special. Lezgin khinkal is not something you cook in a rush. It's a dish that you have to plan. Me and my mom actually prepared the beef yesterday, so today feels more intentional. And also when you let the beef rest in its own broth overnight, the flavor deepens and the texture itself improves. Traditional food often works like that. It requires patience. In this video, I'm not just showing steps. I'll explain what to look for in a dough, how to keep the broth clean, how to make a tomato sauce, and small details that separate regular khinkal, average khinkal, from the really good khinkal. Here's what we're working with. For the dough, we need 600 grams or 5 cups of flour, 1 egg, 1 teaspoon of salt, and about 200 to 230 milliliters or 3/4 to 1 cup of warm water. For the beef, I used a little over 2 kilograms or 4.5 pounds. And for the tomato sauce, we need tomato sauce and 3 cloves of garlic. Let's start with the beef because it's a foundation. As I said, my beef is ready because yesterday I rinsed it, placed it into a large pot, covered it fully with cold water, and then added salt. The moment foam started rising, I skimmed it immediately and carefully. And that step matters more than people think. If you ignore the foam and let it be, the broth will become more cloudy and not as clear and a little bit bitter. After skimming, I reduced the heat so the water was slightly simmering and not aggressively boiling. Beef needs steady, moderate heat. I let the meat cook for 2 to 2 I let it cook for 2 to 2.5 hours, and when it was done, the meat itself was structured and not falling apart, but still tender. And now we can move on to the dough. Wait. I don't sift, 600 grams of flour in the big bowl. I make a well in the center, something I did with the pasta dough when I was making pasta, homemade pasta with shrimps, so you can check it out later here. In the center, we crack 1 egg, like this. Add 1 teaspoon of salt and begin pouring in the water, the warm water. Start with 200 milliliters and add slightly more only if needed. Flour absorbs water differently, depends on the brand and humidity. The dough should come together firm and slightly dense. The dough should not stick to your hands. Khinkal dough must be strong because we are rolling it thin later. I knead it for several minutes until it becomes smooth like this. This is the perfect dough, the most perfect I ever made, the closest to perfect. When I press it, it pushes back, kind of. Can you see it? It does. That resistance means that the gluten structure is developing properly. Then I cover this dough in a plastic bag. Yay! Microplastic! And let it rest in room temperature for about 30 minutes. Resting is not optional. If you try to roll it immediately, it would shrink back and fight you. After resting, it relaxes and becomes much easier to handle. While the dough rests, we have more than enough time to prepare the sauce, the tomato sauce. It also was done yesterday, but you just have the tomato sauce bought from the store, or you can make it yourself, but I'm too lazy for that. You warm it up. While the sauce warms up, we will grate the garlic, 3 cloves of garlic. I also have this scoop thing, we can use it to mince the garlic. First I will grate it. And now use this thing. And when the garlic is ready, we can add the sauce. Now let's add a little bit of salt and mix everything together. Result shouldn't be like a liquid, a little bit thick. And it's a great sauce for the khinkal because it's very delicious. Now the dough is ready. I divide it into two portions, two equal portions. Put one of them away, and on a slightly floured surface, I will roll out the second portion. Rolling evenly is important. I rotate the dough often to keep the thickness consistent. The dough should be rolled out thin, but should not tear when lifted. After rolling, I let the dough sit a little bit so the surface will dry slightly. This helps prevent the pieces of khinkal from sticking together while boiling. Then I cut the dough into equal medium rectangles using a pizza cutter or a regular knife, but I will use the pizza cutter, just like this. Not very equal, but it's a rectangular, so now we will finally cook them. I take the pot in which I cooked meat, this one, and I will take the meat out of it, leaving the broth. But first, I will cook it again so the meat itself will be warm. Meanwhile, I have my khinkal laid out on the floured surface so it won't stick, and I will roll out the second portion of the dough. Don't forget to roll the dough out on a floured surface so it won't be sticky, and this dough actually likes flour. Now that the meat is heated up, I will take it out. Look at this meat. Now turn the heat off, because to cook the khinkal we need a larger pot. Pour some broth here, but leave some so you can drink it. And now fill this deep pan with the water almost till the edges. I think this is enough, and wait for it to boil. The water must be actively boiling before adding the dough. If the water is only lightly simmering, the khinkal can become heavy. Now it's time to drop the pieces. They stick together.
Should stick together.
Probably this khinkal will be a fail. Anyway, drop the pieces and cook them for about 3 to 4 minutes over high heat. They should float. Now it's time to remove them. And now comes the assembly. On one plate I placed khinkal, the beef. On the table you should put tomato sauce, and you can add kefir also as a sauce, and a bowl of broth. You build each bite yourself. Lezgin khinkal is deeply rooted into people's culture. It's not plated for Dagestani aesthetic, it's served for people. It assumes conversation and sharing between people. It's not about looking perfect. The flavor itself is layered, as if there is different components and you can choose what to place on your plate. The broth is rich, the meat is tender, the dough is very soft, and the sauce is fragrant. That's all you need. Thank you for cooking with me on Sunday Spoon. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel, comment below and share it with your friends. Remember to serve it hot, and I'll see you next Sunday. Bye bye!